Hello everyone and welcome to this video regarding the idiocracy of 2020. How idiotic can things get, you may ask? Well, let's talk about how New Jersey is going to allow indoor dining in movie theaters, thus making New Jersey fully open. Everything that we knew pre-pandemic in Jersey is coming back and it will officially be available. Amusement parks, casinos, movie theaters, indoor dining even, malls, you name it. It's all there. But meanwhile, in New York City, Mr. New Yorkers love me. He's being stubborn again. I'll get into why he's being stubborn again and why I'm sick and tired of people defending him. So, the first lunatic we're going to talk about is Foye Murphy. This lunatic decides to go back on his plans of indoor dining back in July, which the indoor dining should have been open in June. But no, he has to be Foye Murphy. He gets all the attention he wants. Well, newsflash for Phil Murphy, he's up for re-election next year. So, a lot of people aren't going to be happy when it's time to vote next year in Jersey, and they're going to be upset. So, could be a very close gubernatorial race there next year. But let's read this article from News 12 New Jersey. Since I am a member of News 12, it's just that I forgot to log in. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, there's no paywall, unlike the article we're going to read from the Daily News. Okay, so it says that indoor dining movie theaters can reopen with capacity limits starting on Friday. Restaurants in the Garden State will be allowed to resume indoor dining at 25% capacity. Starting this Friday, Governor Phil Murphy announced during his COVID-19 briefing from Trenton. Social distancing will also be maintained between tables and parties, will be capped at 8 people per table. So, this is the tweet that was sent out earlier this morning at 8:12 a.m. So this was a big bombshell. I didn't wake up till 11 o'clock this morning, and literally my phone was blowing up saying indoor dining, Jersey, indoor dining. Like literally all my news apps. I think 4, 5... I don't even think I have Channel 5 on my phone. I know 7 sent me a notification. And I know ABC in Philadelphia sent me a notification. So, this is a big deal. Very big deal. So, employees at the restaurant must wear masks at all times, and diners must wear masks when they are not in their seats. That's the most important rule. Windows must be open to allow airflow into the dining area, and air conditioning units must be set to the maximum amount of outdoor air is allowed in the restaurants. In a tweet, Murphy says, reopening responsibly will help us restore one of our key state's industries while continuing to make progress against 2019. Governor Murphy also announced that movie theaters and other indoor venues will be allowed to reopen as well this Friday. Face masks and social distancing will be required. Capacity in movie theaters will be capped at a lesser of either 25% capacity or 150 people. Capacity limits for indoor gatherings like religious services and celebrations, weddings, funerals, memorial services, and political activities will also increase to a lesser of 25% capacity or 150 people. The governor announced 352 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the state's total to 191,960. 8 people had succumbed to the virus, bringing the state's total to 14,165. So there you have it. But now, let's talk about how Mr. New Yorkers Love Me is being a tyrant, and he doesn't want indoor dining in New York City, along with no movie theaters to open in New York State. And he also doesn't want you to go to a mall in New York City. So let's talk about Mark Cuomo here. Here he is. The so-called Mr. New Yorkers Love Me. Boo. eating indoors is still too much of a COVID risk in the Big Apple, Mr. New Yorkers Love Me said today during a teleconference, as restaurants in neighboring New Jersey are set to welcome back diners on Friday. This is the most dumbest thing you could do in New York City right now. So what's going to happen is people in New York City are going to hop over the bridges and tunnels, and they're going to go to indoor dining in Jersey. That's how idiotic this is. You know, I didn't want to go to New Jersey now, but I hate to be a hypocrite. Now I want to go to New Jersey because of this. I should be able to take a day trip to Jersey. Feels like I'm welcome there now. And plus, here's the good thing. If you're coming from New York, here's the good news. You don't have to quarantine for 14 days. Just be responsible and wear the frickin' mask. Let's continue. Cuomo is aware of the competitive disadvantage. Oh, here's the hypocrite that Cuomo is. Oh, I forgot to mention. Resorts World Casino at Aqueduct and Resorts World Casino in the Catskills are not even allowed to be open right now. And I think, what's the other one? Empire City and Yonkers? They're not allowed to be open. I think there's other casinos. You have one in Buffalo. You have one near Syracuse, which I've been to for a wedding one time. And I think there's another in Saratoga Springs. So I don't know why the casinos can't open. There's plenty of room to social distance in there. It's just so idiotic that, okay, movie theaters I can sort of get. And I'm going to get to my point regarding the movie theaters. Because I'm going to show you what theatrical release is coming out that we're not going to be allowed to see in New York. So, here's his conference call today. I want as much economic activity as quickly as possible. We also want to make sure the transmission rate stays under control. Okay, hypocrite, here's one problem. The rate of infection in New York has been below 1% now for almost a month. You mean to tell me you don't even want to do the indoor dining in the city? It's bad enough the Queens Center Mall has not been open since March, right? Hasn't been open since March. The last time I was there was the first week in March, which was March 2nd, I think it was. Yeah, I remember going on that Tuesday to take care of something in GameStop. So, I'm just upset that Queens Center Mall can't be open right now. Indoor dining is one thing, you know. I mean, preferably, yeah, I'd rather go to Long Island right now. Even though I'm still confused if Wendy's is not even open in Williston Park, which everybody knows I like that Wendy's very much. But this is what Cuomo says. Disattention. I get it. I get casinos. We're trying to find a balance and we're calibrating it. And you know what's stupid is? The casinos in Connecticut, New Jersey, and Delaware are allowed to be open. And I think, yeah, Pennsylvania too. I think I saw an ad for that casino in Bethlehem a couple days ago on Channel 7. So they're literally trying to tell people to go to PA right now. I literally just had a friend who went to Hershey Park last week. And Pennsylvania has a low rate of transmission right now too. See, this is an insult. We know for the past couple of months that indoor dining's been allowed in all of New York State except the city right now. Thankfully, if I want to, I have the luxury of taking the Long Island Railroad into Long Island right now, and I could go out east. That's only if I didn't have a mom and dad that didn't cook for me right now. But, you know, that's the thing. It's a whole different story. It's so pathetic that the weather's going to get colder, and Cuomo's making an excuse. Oh, flu. Unbelievable. He's blaming the seasonal flu now. You know, he's playing politics here. This is people's livelihoods. He's ruining their quality of life right now. And then DeBozo, let's get into him. He says, oh, there needs to be a vaccine. This is just so stupid. I mean, I get you want the vaccine, but 25% capacity is better than nothing. We'll get to some other news stories as well in just a second. So I want to get to this disgusting transit story. We'll get to some transit news in just a second because that just came up. I want to read that. My last point is, look at this. The theatrical release of Tenet is supposed to come out on Friday. I think there's a couple movie theaters already in Connecticut that are doing early showings. And once the theaters reopen in Jersey, there's going to be a competitive disadvantage. I think there's a movie theater somewhere off the Lincoln Tunnel, I think. Yeah, I think it's literally in that Barnes & Noble Plaza on Route 3. So people are going to end up going there. And then you have the other theaters, I think, that are in Bergen County. So you're going to have people going to Bergen County, and then you're going to have people going over to Union County. I forget where, what county is East Rutherford in? I'll look it up. Just to prove the point. East Rutherford, New Jersey. I don't want a zip code. I just want a, yeah, Bergen. See, it's in Bergen County. You're going to have people going to Bergen County just to see this film. They're going to end up going to Secaucus, and they're going to end up going to all those movie theaters in Paramus. And come to think of it, I think there's a few theaters in Hackensack too. So there you go. New Jersey's the place to be right now. I hate to say it, but starting Friday, in order to get a better quality of life, you're going to have to go to Jersey. That's the way it seems right now. This is going to make people leave New York City. I guarantee you this is the downfall of New York City right here. Okay, now let's get into some transit news. We're going to talk about this incident that happened on New Jersey Transit, and the local media seems to not even report on it here in New York. NJ Transit commuter trapped on empty train for 90 minutes before rescue. A 26-year-old woman from Woodbridge was stuck on an NJ Transit train that went out of service at Newark Penn and was trapped on board for 90 minutes at a rail siding before she could be found and rescued. Tafra Hasni of Woodbridge, she was stranded on a 7:56 a.m. North Jersey Coastline train that was taken out of service at Newark Penn for mechanical reasons back on August 26th. So that was, Thursday. She was commuting to her job in New York State. Hassani said in an interview, "I got on the 7:56 a.m. train in Woodbridge and didn't get off until about 10 a.m. I did not hear the out-of-service announcement, but regardless, not one crew member checked the train to see if I was on board." Agency tweets from @NJTransit_NJCL said this. This train was involved. So it was train 3224. The 8:40 a.m. arrival into Penn Station in New York was delayed near Woodbridge. So this is what I mean. If I'm going to be taking NJT in the future, which most likely if the city's going to hold me hostage from indoor dining anytime soon, New Jersey may have to be my option. Because thankfully I know a Roy Rogers that's literally right off the Lautenberg station and I could walk to near the New Jersey Turnpike. It's only a 20-minute train ride into Jersey for me. It seems that's the way I may end up doing. So this is what makes me alarmed by New Jersey Transit in the future. So this is a complete joke. So a spokesperson said, customers were instructed through the train's PA address system to exit the train and board a following train to go into New York City. So she thought that she'd wake up in New York City. That's why I drink diet soda before I go on the train. Or what I do is do the right thing and get plenty of sleep. Because trust me, I've taken the train from Great Neck many times, and I don't want to have to get screwed knowing I'm at Flushing Main Street or in Woodside. They're telling us to get off, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So I understand her pain. you know? Wow. She tried calling 911. And then look, this is what I mean. This is the flaws of New Jersey transit. It's a complete joke. I mean, I'm glad that, you know, it's just a laughingstock that this agency NJT is. And by the way, I've read articles from Larry Hicks, so kudos to him, because he does a good job for NJ.com. But yeah, no local media in New York covered this. I mean, that's what makes this a complete joke. You know, I literally just saw this article when I was researching the news about the indoor dining in Jersey, because, you know, at least the New Jersey feed of News 12 updated. Okay, and lastly, let's talk about a sick pervert who tried to sexually assault a woman at a station I did a summit at. 6 suspects arrested for trying to rape woman in Manhattan subway station in front of shocked crowd. Cops on Sunday arrested a suspect that said knocked a woman off her feet in an Upper East Side subway station, then climbed on top of her and tried to rape her as a shocked crowd gathered and filmed the terrifying attack. Oh, this is what I mean. They probably arrested him and he's going to be back out on bail reform. Ugh. See, writing these stories now, it's just a waste of time, but I'll continue reading it. The 25-year-old victim first encountered suspect Jose Reyes. This is a different Jose Reyes, not the Mets player. This is a different Jose Reyes. Around 11 a.m. Saturday while riding an F train. Rodney Harrelson, NYPD chief detective, said he appeared to be smoking some type of hookah and started making weird noises and laughing to himself. Oh, lovely! Mentally ill. This guy was mentally ill homeless. This is what I keep talking about, you know? Let's continue reading. The woman got off at Lexington Avenue and 63rd Street, which again, I've done a summit at. Everybody knows I did that summit last year when I went to Bloomingdale's. Okay. I'm going to have to read this in a way that I don't get demonetized. Mr. Reyes touched himself towards her, and the victim, in an attempt to avoid him, moved in a different direction, Harrison said. Mr. Reyes follows her, which resulted in him assaulting her, punching her, pushing her to the ground, climbing on top, and then attempting to open her legs. Use your imagination, people. I'm not going to pretend this is He thrust his body back and forth on top of her while the crowd watched in horror the video shows. A Good Samaritan intervened and started recording with a mobile phone. Cops released the video early Sunday and asked the public's help identifying the would-be rapist. Harrison said, "This heinous and horrendous act was interrupted by a Good Samaritan who observed Mr. Reyes' behavior and got him to cease his behavior while subsequently videotaping the incident." As more bystanders gathered, the creep ran off, but not before mouthing off a few inaudible words to the crowd and grabbing his sunglasses off the floor. The victim was left with minor injuries and refused medical attention, police said. Facial recognition from the video matched up Reyes' mugshot from a criminal mischief arrest last year. So, again, probably got out on bail reform. Why aren't I surprised? Trust me, if I witnessed that encounter, I would have told the lady, look, this guy probably got out on the bail reform. This is what I mean. You know? I was supposed to have more in-depth conversations with Ed De La Torre about the whole bail reform. But again, I'm not going to be able to see him in person until the MTA reopens the meetings to the public. So trust me, I'm going to give Ed or the inspecting officer, Crispin Bespendic, the whole viewpoint on why this bail reform is just completely dangerous. You know? They got to understand that it's not completely their fault. They're trying to do their jobs. But again, it's Cuomo. and that dangerous bail reform that went into effect back in January. I knew stuff like this would happen. Especially again, come on, during a pandemic. You just cannot make the stuff up. So, I just don't get it. So they think this suspect is hanging around Harlem. But again, once he gets caught, he's going to be out. So what's the point? This is so funny. He admits to living in the Bronx. And he had drugs in his possession. Oh, look at this. He has 15 prior arrests. He was sentenced to 1 to 3 years in prison for grand larceny in Manhattan back in 2013 and was paroled a year later. So now they have to arraign him in court in Manhattan on attempted rape, assault, and harassment charges. Exactly. I know Abby Collins very well. She's the communications officer for the MTA. You know, this is what I mean. Thank goodness, I got rid of the paywall. I'm not going to say how I did it, but, this is 2020, right? It seems we're back to the same problems we were in January. And it seems now we're back to the same issues we were over the summer, where Cuomo and Murphy keep playing politics. Once again, you don't have governors like Ed Lamont and Tom Wolf, John Carney, and Larry Hogan, who actually have a heart and show compassion. Unlike these two egomaniacs we have in the tri-state area right now. Nope. Then again, Phil Murphy should be considered winner in city and state New York. Because I want to mention something huge to wrap up this video. If I can find it. Let's see if we can even Google it. This is going to be too funny because I have to show you this. This is going to be too funny. Hopefully they did update it. Hopefully we can find out what happened. Ba-ba-ba-ba! Patrick Joseph Foye is a loser! Let's read why he's a loser. As if facing a gargantuan budget deficit wasn't enough, MTA chair Pat Foye now has to deal with the mysterious vandal breaking subway car windows and costing the transit agency even more money if it doesn't have. By the way, I will mention they did catch a suspect over the weekend who was vandalizing trains at Columbus Circle on the A line this weekend, but apparently they couldn't link him to the 7 train windows being broken. How funny is that? But at least in detailing looming doomsday cuts, Patrick Joseph Foye is staying on track with the strategy of pinning the agency's future on federal funding, meaning if massive service and workforce cuts do come, he and the governor could avoid blame. While you're waiting 2 hours between Long Island Railroad trains next year, maybe commuters will blame Trump's MTA and not Cuomo's MTA, aka the possibility of Joseph Robinette Biden becoming president of the United States. 2020, right? Oh, and speaking of epic fails today, I might as well show you this. Sound effect, please. South Shore lost today. This is too good. Because now they're worried that the city's not allowing indoor dining. They probably freaked out when they heard the news that Pat Foye is failing trying to get the job done. And not to mention that Congress is still on recess until next week. to try to see if they can approve the Federal Heroes Act. So you cannot make this stuff up. You just can't. Let's hope this stays red for the remainder of the week.
One theory.
And I have this all times. There is a possibility it goes up if the federal unemployment report shows more hiring for August, 'cause it's supposed to come out on Friday. And then I know the stock exchange is closed a week from today because, remember, you have the federal, it's Labor Day, so, yeah. So, not a good day for the enclave today. Look at that. Look at that. So, yep, that's going to wrap it up. That's why I'm titling this video, 2020 Gets Crazier. Thank you for watching.